Episode 6 of Detective Forst begins with Dominica going through the contents of the flash drive she discovered in the previous episode. The drive contains a plethora of videos, and one of them is a confession. In the video, Jord talks about Forst, detailing how Forst has destroyed his childhood, and the same thing will happen to Dominica's children if he's not stopped. Jord presents Dominica with a choice: either help him in bringing down Forst or risk destroying her own family. Dominica decides to align herself with Jord and destroys the flash drive. How does Dominica build a case against Forst? Dominica attempts to use Forst's previous cases to establish that he is incompetent. She also presents medical reports to suggest that Forst is bipolar and struggles to differentiate between right and wrong. Forst's history as a child who grew up in Helena's orphanage also makes him look culpable. Dominica also goes a step further by securing false testimony from Helena's son, in which he claims that Forst is mentally insane. The police launch a massive manhunt to locate Forst. However, Edmund is removed from the case due to being deemed too emotionally involved. What happened to Agatha? Since Iwo has kidnapped Agatha, there's a high likelihood that he might target Olga next, considering that she's one of the few people Forst really cares about. To make sure Olga is safe, Forst secretly takes her out of the hospital and relocates her to Nina's house, a more secure place beyond Iwo's reach. While cracking Iwo's clues from the video, Forst figures out that Iwo wants him to return to the place where everything began, the orphanage. Forst arrives at the orphanage, the private estate nestled between the woods, surrounded by miles of hills and mountains. As soon as Forst steps foot inside, memories of his past flood back. Forst recalls being adopted, while Iwo was unjustly left behind to suffer for a crime he didn't commit. Forst tries to find Agatha in the many rooms of the orphanage, but sadly, Iwo has already murdered her. What happens to Iwo? Iwo finally shows himself and starts attacking Forst. In the middle of the fight, he heartlessly talks about how he killed Agatha and how she begged for help as he drained the life out of her. This pushes Forst over the edge, and they both end up in a fierce struggle. Forst grabs Iwo, and they both fall off the building, knocking themselves out. Sadly, it is revealed that Agatha wasn't the only one hurt. Iwo also brutally killed Stasik. As things wrap up, Forst escapes custody and heads straight to Nina's house to check on Olga. There, he discovers Nina's lifeless body sitting on the couch, her throat brutally slit. Olga is nowhere to be found. The police surround the place, and despite being innocent, Forst is taken into custody. As for Olga, in the final moments, we see her on the road, and to everyone's surprise, Iwo is in the trunk of her car. It looks like they've been working together from the beginning. This also explains why Olga was the first one to always show up at the crime scene. The episode review. Detective Forst season concludes with episode 6, and if you were expecting a neat ending where everything goes back to normal and lives are saved, you're in for a bummer. Iwo wins in the end, exacting his revenge on Forst by taking away everything dear to him, his job and Agatha. In the final moments, cops show up at Nina's house, ready to arrest Forst, who seems to have accepted his fate. The episode, however, leaves some loose ends, like Olga's role in all of it and where she's taking Iwo. These questions will possibly be covered in the next season, if there is one.